matter who we are or where we're born, every single one of us wants to live the most magical life we can. We want to live a life we love. The thing is, we don't really have a great guide. Nobody's put together a perfect plan for how to do that. And everybody comes from different places, different situations, different scenarios, different cultures. We learn different things, but we all want the same thing. We want a blissful life. We want to live a life where we feel like we're making progress, where we're able to appreciate what's around us. And overall, we want to be able to say at the end, wow, I'm really happy with the work I put into the potential that I had, right? We don't want to get to the end of our lives and say, oh my God, there was so much more potential in me that I never even tried to tap into. So I want to talk today about a framework that I've been working on that I hope would be helpful for a lot of people in learning how to live a more amazing life and pursuing that limitless potential that's inside of us. And the name of this framework is called the Wheel of Limitless Potential. So, life is complex. Life is not easy to figure out. Like I said, there is no kind of one guidebook that gives you all the answers, that lays everything out in front of us in a step-by-step order. And it wouldn't work anyway because it's different for all of us. So, where do we start? Well, the first thing I would recommend to anyone is a very simple hack, which is identify a couple of people who you would like to learn from, who you think are living life in a way that's a little bit, in some way, how you would like to live, and people that are thinking the way you want to think, and maybe the people that look like they're feeling the way you want to feel. That energy that's coursing out of them is something that attracts you. And don't look for just one person, but look for many. And you're not going to find one person. Like maybe there's something I say that you like, but maybe there's some things about me you don't resonate with, and that's totally fine. Pick and choose what you like from different people. But when you find, curate your mentors, choose just a few people that you really respect, and then try to adopt or synthesize or absorb things from each of them. Right. So I want to be one of those people if you think I can be useful to you. So I'm working on this idea of how to organize the way we look at the work we do on ourselves. And the first argument that I would make is that crafting a life we love really starts with crafting ourselves. You don't want to start working on your life as your main focus. So if you try to work on your work, okay, I want a better job, I want a better salary, that's going to lead me to da 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 da. Well, it doesn't usually really actually work that way. What works much better is if we work first on ourselves, we start from the inside, and then we work out. So this framework, the Wheel of Limitless Potential, is built off of that idea. And we'll think of it as a wheel, and there's 10 different spokes in the wheel. So just imagine, you may have heard a metaphor like this before. It's a very simple one. If life was like a wheel, or you and your life were kind of like a wheel that was made up of different spokes, and let's just say there are 10 of them, if you neglect some of those spokes for too long and they get weak or they get broken, the wheel will not really roll very well, right? So we need to just observe how we're doing in these different areas of life. And I'm just going to list off a few. So one of them would be personal energy. The energy with which you show up with day after day is going to be determined by things like sleep, exercise, your mental state, your emotional energy, your spiritual energy. There's a lot of different kinds of energy. So I call this personal energy, and it kind of encompasses all the different parts of the work that you would need to do to understand your own energy levels. Another one might be your environment. So the physical surroundings that you're living in, your house, your office, the light you might have around you, the air you might have around you, the people, energy coming from people around you. So curating your environment, learning how to improve that over time. Most of us haven't really gotten our environment to the place where it's super conducive for us to live in a more vibrant way, right? I know for me, it was something very, very challenging that I had to learn how to do over time. And I've finally gotten my environment to be mostly conducive to living my best self. Human connection would be another one. We all really crave and need social connection that's meaningful, where we really feel like we've got people who have our backs, people who understand us, people where there's mutual caring and concern and understanding and empathy. Ideas in would be a huge one. Being able to constantly be learning new things and upgrading the way that we think about ourselves and the world, understanding things. Another area of life that's super important would be putting ideas in. So learning the habits and methods that we use to upgrade the way we understand ourselves and the world, the way we look at and understand the way the world works. Okay, so these are just 4 of the spokes, and I'm not going to go into all 10 of them right this minute because I want to just introduce you to this framework. But now think of the wheel and think of each of these spokes as kind of part of your life, right? But at the core or at the hub or at the center of everything is really the inside you. So I've divided up the hub into 2 sections. One is personal development and one is self-relationship. And of course, all of these ideas are just a framework for looking at. It's kind of like a skeleton of how to structure looking at the work we do to craft our future selves. And so under, let's say, personal development, we might have some meta skills, is what I'm calling them, because if you work on these skills, which are at the core of you, and you improve really deeply inside you who you are, you will be so much better, so much more effective when you go to work on another area of your life, like personal energy or environment or human connection. You'll just be much, much more powerful in improving or making improvements to those sections of your life. So let's say under personal development, some meta skills would be habit installation. How good are you at creating new habits? Can you create consistency in your life time after time after time when you say, okay, I want to get better at this, or I want to be more fit? Can you quickly create that consistency, right? That's the skill of habit installation. Let's say gratitude as a practice, being able to switch into the state of seeing what's great around you, appreciating the world you live in, and feeling gratitude is a powerful way to put ourselves in a state that will look for how we can make improvements rather than being down about what's not quite right yet. Another might be curiosity. How curious are you to learn new things? And lastly, under personal development, I will mention Scary Equals Happy. This is the title of a book that I've written recently that's about to be published. My goal is by February, this will be available to everyone. I'm going to start talking about it a lot more. But the habit of doing scary things on purpose, scary things that don't harm us, is a great way to speed up your personal growth. It's a skill, though, because we, by nature, avoid the things that we're uncomfortable with. Most of us are just doing this automatically by nature all the time. And for the other half of the hub of the wheel of limitless potential is self-relationship. And this is actually a place where most of us have a lot of work to do. So your self-relationship would be your ability to appreciate yourself, your emotional aptitude. Like, how do you understand your own emotions? Can you notice what you're actually feeling, feel it all the way, and then listen to what that emotion is trying to tell you to pay attention to? Or the habit of taking care of ourselves as the core of our lives, self-care and self-love, is really important and also difficult for many people because we're so used to prioritizing what other people want us to do that we may not feel comfortable. We may feel guilty if we put a lot of energy into taking care of and growing ourselves. We feel like it's selfish. But oh my gosh, we can't take care of the people around us until we start taking care of ourselves more wholly. So these are just a few of the areas of the wheel. So the spokes I've mentioned just 4, and I've just mentioned a few under personal development and self-relationship. If this is intriguing to you, what I'm going to be doing inside the Emerge PH community coming up, and I'll be working on a book about this also coming maybe next year. But inside the Emerge PH community, I'm going to be creating content, workshops, videos, articles, and even coaching and mentoring for premium members that you can take advantage of. I'll be putting some of this content in the community for everyone, even the basic members, but some of it will be much more deep and will be only available to premium members. So I hope you guys are excited about this. I hope that it's going to be valuable. I believe that it is. I'm pretty excited. Also, it's not all coming from me. This is a framework where a lot of other coaches and mentors that we'll be bringing into the community will also be categorizing their content and their workshops and their courses, etc., into these categories. So I hope this makes sense to you. And I would just say, in closing for this introductory concept video that I wanted to create, it's a concept. And life is messy. Life is not perfect. I have felt in the past many times bad about myself or bad about my life when I realized that an area of my life was really not the way I wanted it to be. It can feel depressing. It feels frustrating and disappointing when you realize you sort of get this wake up call. Maybe something happens in your life and you start paying attention. It's like, oh my God, maybe I'm not as good as at relationships as I really want to be, or maybe I'm nowhere near as good at relationships as I thought I was. It can crash us to discover these things. Maybe you wake up one day and you realize you've let yourself get really out of shape, or you feel very, very confused about something, maybe on a spiritual level, or you're not creating enough time to renew yourself and you're getting burnt out, or you realize your intimate relationships are suffering and you don't really have a partnership relationship that you want or that's satisfying for you. So there's many different areas of life that we can kind of get these wake up calls that can shock us and make us feel kind of low. But I would like to invite you to actually, next time that happens for you, is to see that as normal and see that as not really a problem, but just data. When we realize that one of these spokes really needs some work, or maybe we realize we haven't been putting enough work into developing ourselves or our relationship with ourselves, and that hub really needs more investment. This happened to me in my late 30s and early 40s. I realized, oh my God, I've been spending 20 years just focusing on working hard, trying to create freedom for my family and like the vision I had for the future. But I was not investing in myself. I was never asking, who am I and who do I really want to become? And if I discovered I wanted to become someone different than I am now, what would I do? How do I even do that work? I had no idea. So it's okay, no matter what age you are, no matter where you're at in life, it's okay to realize that you want to start putting more effort into that, taking more ownership of your own learning and growth. And then from there, start working on those spokes, right? Those different areas of life. And sometimes we'll be working on a couple at the same time, but we can never really work on all of them at the same time. And we can't flip a switch and just magically become the best version of ourselves overnight. And we will not be able to switch. And we will not be able to flip a switch and magically have all of these spokes very strong all at once, right? It's going to just be a process. And this is what life really is all about. Life is about learning, it's about progress, and it's a never ending journey. And it's actually beautiful when you take it that way. And you think, there's no such thing as failure. There's no such thing as being bad at something forever. There's just needing to learn. There's needing to grow. And there's realizing like, I need to work on that. And that's just life. And that's okay. Honestly, in my opinion, there is nothing more rewarding than growing yourself. It feels great when you take ownership and you say, I am not only the clay, but I am also the sculptor. And I'm going to take real ownership of creating the future me. And I don't really know how yet, but that's okay because there's all these other people who can be my coaches and mentors. And there's just so much access to amazing people who can guide us and teach us and show us the way. And it's fun. It's really fun. And there might be one thing that's more enjoyable than actually growing ourselves, and that's contributing to others. If we can support other people in their growth, I think that's maybe the penultimate joy of life, is to be able to give back when we learn, when we put the work into ourselves, that we can then kind of pay it forward and help other people. So if I'm ever able to be supportive of you in any way, then I'm probably the one getting the most amount of joy out of that. And I just appreciate you being here. And thanks for listening to this video all the way to the end. And I hope that you will benefit from some of the work that I'm doing, the thinking that I'm doing, maybe some of the work I've done on myself. And I would love your feedback if you think there's something that doesn't make sense or that could be improved. And be patient with me because I have a lot of work to do in front of me and I'm just going to do it one step at a time. I don't have it all mapped out yet all the way, but I'm excited to continue on this journey with you. And yeah, just would like to invite you to check it out and join the Emerge PH community if you haven't already. If you're already a member, please consider becoming a premium member. It's only $2,500 for 6 months right now. That will go up in the future, but that will really help us keep going because right now, the only way we can keep going is with your help. So thank you for being here and I'll see you soon.